Attorney Tharpe. I'm here live to take your U.S. immigration related questions. Go ahead and put your questions in the comments so that I may answer your questions. So I have a good topic for you today. I am going to be asking you a question, and that is, do you think that you need to stay with your spouse before to get the permanent residence, or do you feel like or do you feel as if you can leave, right? So I'm going to say this: true or false? Can you get the permanent residence without your spouse? True or false? So that's where I'm going to start, right? And I'm going to give you the answer in a minute. I'm just gonna go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and correct a technical issue here, and then we're going to get started. But think about that question. All right, so all is well, and I have a question for you. So let me reintroduce myself. I'm U.S. immigration attorney Sharifa Tharpe, and I'm here with a very good topic today. I'm going to start with a true or false question, though, a true or false question. Do you need to stay with your spouse to get the permanent residence? So, true or false? Just go ahead and put true or false in the comments. If you believe it's true that you must stay with the spouse to get your permanent residence, then go ahead and put true or false. All right, so I'm seeing false. All right. Any more false? Yep. Yep. So it looks like you've been hanging out with me for a good while because that's my answer as well. That's false. So, yes. So my answer is false. And I have a feeling that that means you have been listening to me. So that's great. False. Exactly. Now, it's false in the situation. Now, the only time you would be thinking about that, you'd really be thinking it about, do I need to stay with my spouse, is where the spouse is mistreating you, right? If everything is good, that question is not even going to come to your head, right? That question about whether you can move forward in your process without the spouse. So if that question is even popping up in your head, it means that there is some sort of problem that where you need to look out for yourself and you need to explore your options. And so I'm here to tell you that is false. If you're with a spouse who is mistreating you or subjecting you to extreme cruelty, you do not need to stay in this situation. You can leave and file for your own process. And this, now, when I say mistreatment, I don't mean mistreatment as in physical harm only, or that the police had to get involved, or that you had to that you got physical injuries where you had to go to the hospital, or where your spouse went to jail for it. The abuse and mistreatment and extreme cruelty comes in different forms, and the immigration service is very much aware of this, and this is why they do give VOA applicants that flexibility to be able to present the basis of the mistreatment, present their case as to why this is mistreatment or extreme cruelty. And when I am submitting these types of applications for my clients, there are many different considerations that come into play. There are even cultural considerations. For example, not even if a spouse isn't even respecting another spouse's cultural norms, or cultural traditions, that in itself can be very offensive and can even amount to extreme cruelty for the immigrant spouse. So it is a subjective, abuse, mistreatment. It is subjective. And it does come in different forms, and it doesn't have to just be what we typically see on the news or in the paper or on domestic violence flyers with a black eye and police involved or call 911. It comes in different forms. You don't even ever have to involve the police to be able to get this form of relief. So if your spouse has even uttered to you that they are going to call immigration on you, I don't know which spouse who has your best interest at heart will ever say a threat like that to you. That can amount to extreme cruelty and can qualify you for VAWA. Now, when we are submitting the petition, the declaration, the petition with the declaration and additional proof, my clients have all, it is not a one size fits all. And my clients have various pieces of evidence to show this mistreatment. And even if they don't, right, that's another thing. If you don't have any evidence at all, because that's the next thing I hear is after, well, yeah, I guess I am being subjected to mistreatment or extreme cruelty. The next thing I hear is, but how can I prove it? I can't prove this. And if that's the case, I want you to know that just by you remembering what they are doing to you, the extreme cruelty, that is valuable in itself as evidence. And what we do is put your memory, what you experience, the effect of that, of what you experience on you emotionally and physically, we put that on paper in the form of a declaration. And the declaration is one, when done properly, is accepted as evidence by the immigration service. But you have to be very careful because there is so much flexibility in submitting a VAWA application in regards to the evidence that the immigration officers are very, very, very keen about inconsistencies and about possible the telling of lies in the application. This is what they look out for. They are trained to understand what extreme cruelty is, that it's not just being beaten up physically, but it's not just about calling the police, that it varies just depending on the effect and experience on the individual emotionally and psychologically. But at the same time, they are also scrutinizing the application because they're only taking your word. And so when they're scrutinizing the application, they're looking for one thing: credibility. Is your statement and is the evidence you're submitting credible? If it is credible, then they will accept it as evidence, and more than likely, you will go ahead and get a favorable outcome. But I have gotten calls from individuals after they tried to do it by themselves, or they selected someone who said, and a so-called immigration expert who said they know how to do this. I have gotten calls saying, well, I've gotten all these questions. I got a nasty RFE because in putting the application together, they were very careless about details. Maybe the statement wasn't detailed enough, or maybe there were varying. And, I understand that when it comes on to declarations, it's tricky because sometimes your memory may be flawed because of the trauma. But these are things that, as the attorney, I am trained to identify and be able to tackle these issues with my client so that the officer can still determine that my client qualifies for the benefit. Now, the benefits here is the work permit, is special VAWA status, where you get deferred action, and then automatic scheduling of an interview or getting the green card. You may even get the interview waived and get the permanent residence. The whole entire process takes about 2 to 2.5 years. However, the work permit does come in about 6 to 12 months after applying. But it's important to apply properly, to make sure that you apply in a way that is that the officer can get all the information they need to make a good decision, right? To make the decision in your favor. Because if it's a sloppy application, just like any other type of application, they are going to deny you despite what you're going through. So don't worry about that evidence. What my rule of thumb here is, if you're going through this situation, make sure you get in touch with me. Let's talk about what the situation is, and I can quickly determine whether you qualify and get started right away. We do treat our clients' matters with urgency. Now, another advantage of this is that even if you entered the country without permission or entered on someone else's papers and now you qualify for VAWA, you don't have to go back home to finish out your process. With VAWA, they have special exceptions regarding how you enter the country. That allows you to still adjust status. So there's an exception for legal entry. So, say for instance, you're doing it through your spouse. If you're doing it through your spouse and you came in without permission, you do have to go back home. You do have to go through what's called a waiver process, go back to the embassy and complete your process then. But with this VAWA process, if you're being mistreated by the spouse and you're now doing it on your own through VAWA, you can stay in the United States for your entire process. You will be treated, you would be applying through adjustment of status, which means you would get the work permit as well as a social security number. And what I've seen for my clients is, they not only, this is, it's not just paper for them, it means a new life for them, right? Getting the work permit, getting the social security number, it means they have a head start on life in the United States without the negative energy or the mistreatment or the abuse or the constant conflict around them. This is the joy of my practice. That's what wakes me up every day, is knowing the life-changing work that I do for my clients and the way that I see they glow up, right? They oftentimes, when my clients come to me and they're in this situation, because I do represent clients in different areas, but in this particular area, when they do come to me, it's not, they're not happy. They're in a miserable situation and they are looking for a way out. And, fast forward 11, 12 months later, they're glowing. And sometimes if I'm calling them to check on them, they're asking me, why am I calling them? So it is one of those life-changing things that I want you to know about, that you do have the ability to change your life with this application, and it does make a big difference. It doesn't matter if you came into the country without permission. I mean, it depends, but for the most part, if you are here, you came into the country, you never left, you can qualify for this and you can stay all the way through. Even if you yourself have been in trouble, maybe if you've had a past arrest, maybe you had a more severe immigration violation, you may even be in deportation. This VAWA can assist you to get out of that situation and to completely change your situation around 180 degrees to a favorable path for you in the United States. So it is one of those solutions that not a lot of people understand. They think this is only for people with status. They think it's only for people who've been physically abused, and that's not the case. So there you go. I've given you some really good details. I leave it up to you to talk to, if you have someone who's going through this, talk to them about this option and let them know I'm here to assist, because we get on it. We have a whole team that's behind our clients to make sure that the process, we apply quickly and we get, as a result of that, the faster you act is the faster that you can get the results. So go ahead, you can call the number on the screen, or you can go to the link in the description of the video, go to the profile page on Instagram, and you can always click on the link and get to me, schedule your appointment so we can get started. All right, so now to questions. Hi there on YouTube. Hi, I just got married 7 months ago and filed for I-130 form. What's next? So after you file the I-130, if you're outside of the United States, you're going to then have to wait for a decision. It's taking anywhere from 9 months to 12 months to get a decision on the I-130. They are working to try to speed up processing time. So hopefully we start to see it in more like 3 months soon. But, I realistically expect for 9 to 12 months. After that, you will then, after it's approved, it goes to the embassy. So it goes to the National Visa Center. You work with them. So we work with the National Visa Center to get everything prepared for our clients, and it's moved to the embassy. The interview can take anywhere from 3 months to a year, just depending on the country, the embassy, what's the current situation right now. Hi there, Sheldon. Thanks so much. I appreciate that compliment, and I am very happy to share information with you. Now, remember that the information I'm providing is general information for your empowerment and for your education. But at the same time, remember that if you're going through a particular situation, you should always schedule a personal consultation. So I'm in the US, same sex. I need immigration lawyer to guide me through. Absolutely. Go ahead and call the number. I can help you with that for sure. Because if you're in the United States, it depends if your spouse, it depends whether you can apply for adjustment of status or what the next step is going to be in the United States. Is going to depend on what is the current situation, and that's what I need to talk to you about first, and then we can get started. But we're very experienced with our marriage-based clients, and we can help you to finish out successfully. We just need to talk to you first to make sure that you qualify. All right. So at what point do you get the travel permit? After submitting the VAWA application. So those are taking anywhere from 6 months to a year. And just remember, you also have to apply for the travel document separately from you have to apply separately from the work permit. So it doesn't just come automatically because you apply for the work permit. All right. Go ahead, put your questions in the comments. If USCIS gave a 7-month processing time, does that mean interview date will be given after the 7 months? Not necessarily. So it depends on what the application is. Are you looking at the I-130 or the I-485? The interview is usually associated with the adjustment of status application. And so if it's longer than 7 months, it could be anywhere between the range that they're giving you. All right. So if anyone apply for VAWA case and if they have a past court case of PD, so how long it take to open and close that case in court? So that's a more complex matter, and it's going to all depend on what's going on in your situation. So definitely schedule a consultation, but it could take anywhere from a few months or a couple of months to get it open, because you do have to open it, and then they have to approve it and then close it back before you can then move on to apply. And then if you have, it's going to depend on whether it can even be reopened. What's the situation? So go ahead and let's talk about what your situation is first, and then we can see if we can get started. Hi, all right, so keep those questions coming. These are all great questions. So put those questions in the comments. All right. So while questions are coming in, what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you one more time how to get in touch with me so that I can tackle your issues individually and then get started right away, because that's what I'm here to do, is to assist you to move forward in your process. So if you do want to get representation, hi there, Bob Brisky, go ahead and get in touch with us. Now you will go ahead and call the number on the screen. On Instagram, go to the link on the profile page, and it's going to take you to the page with everything you need to get started. Then uh, the staff, that's gonna lead you to the scheduling coordinators, who will either help you. If you call the number, they're gonna go ahead and help you to schedule your appointment. But you can also easily schedule your own appointment through the link on the profile page on Instagram, or the link in the description of the video. There, it walks you through a very easy form. You confirm your appointment, and then staff will get in touch with you to just confirm that everything is good to go, and we'll move forward with the appointment. That's going to be the most important action that you can take to get started. So if you're asking, how can I get started? That's the way that you're going to do that. So I already submit my VAWA application. My passport is about to expire. Do I go ahead and renew it before I get a response from the USCIS? So if you've already submitted your VAWA, I'm thinking you may have an attorney. If you do have an attorney, make sure you talk to your attorney. Always defer to your attorney about your matter. And then this is too specific for me to advise on, because I am only giving general information and I can't advise you on what specific actions you should be taking regarding traveling, your passport, renewing, or what the next step should be in your process. So always defer to the attorney that you have, because the attorney should be communicating with you, just, at minimum, should be communicating with you and letting you know the status of your matter. After VAWA is approved, how long to get the green card and remove process and case dismissed. So if you're saying case dismissed, it sounds like this may be a removal. This may be a removal issue too, because I don't know where the case dismissed is coming from. But after the VAWA is approved, then you're looking at, and depending on what you're going through, generally to go on to the adjustment of status process, you're looking at about another 6 months to a year. So right now, the entire process is taking, I would say on average 2.5 years, but it can go as long as 3 years. While you do get the work permit and a social security number at the 6 to 8 month mark, sometimes it goes up to a year. You still have a ways to go to get a final decision on the VAWA application. Once that application is approved, it then moves on to the permanent residence application. Now, there are a number of applications that do have to be submitted to be able to get through that entire process. But when we represent our clients, we do a majority of the work at the beginning. So we submit all the applications, and then each one plays out. So you get the work permit, then the VAWA gets approved, then the green card gets approved, and there's an application for each of those benefits that you'll be getting. All right. So great questions. Thanks so much, everyone. I'll be back tomorrow with another topic, and you can come with your questions, and I will happily answer those questions. Thanks again for your time. Great. And I'll see you tomorrow. Bye bye.